Well, good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Thursday, December 26th, 2024. It is Boxing Day. Yes, Boxing Day. You love it. I know it has different connotations but to other people, but I always look at it as our day. It's Boxing Day. If you're a cricket enthusiast, well, today's your day as well. The MCG in Melbourne, there'll be probably 100,000 people there. Doing the thing, although it's going to be very, very warm. So good luck to all those people out there. But look, first of all, hope you all had a great Christmas. Beautiful day, wasn't it? Really, really nice day. We had a nice, relaxing one. We live about an hour away from all our extended family. So, and they've all got other commitments as well with all other parts of the family, if you know what I mean. So we just do our thing in the morning. We always have a nice brunch that we all cook together with all the trimmings, and then we just chill for the day and wait for the extended family to come down for dinner that night, and we just do our thing then. So yeah, really good day, and again, I hope you had an awesome Christmas with the family. As for the boxing itself, obviously not a lot to talk about at the moment. It's just that time of year, isn't it? But one thing that did catch my eye, if you will. Come here, buddy. Looking to go the other way. This way, man. Short way to wait today. It's going to be a very, very hot day. So we're going to cut this walk probably in half. But yes, the one thing that did catch my eye was the 12 days of clapback. Oscar De La Hoya. We haven't seen him for a few weeks, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. But as far as I know, since the infamous one that he did with Eddie Hearn, and some accusations that he's put out there, we haven't sort of seen him. I've got a feeling that maybe he was told to pull his head in for a little while. Maybe his lawyer said, look, if you don't calm down with these things you're doing, maybe there might be implications. I don't know, but he has laid low. But he's come out swinging, excuse the pun, for his Christmas edition. And I thought it was a pisser. So if you didn't see it, the 12 days of clapback, I think the punchline was a red-headed Mexican duck, which was a picture of Canelo. So it was mixed in with, I think, the downfall of PBC. There was the transgender issue at the Olympics. That was a hard watch because the photo we put up, I'm not going to get back into all this again, but he looked in better nick, or she, whatever, looked in a lot better nick and looked a lot like a man than a lot of male boxers, if you know what I mean. But anyway, there was a shot at Eddie Hearn with Frank Warren, lots of different things anyway, but a lot of work had gone into it, and he's obviously, and a lot of thought. So yeah, a lot of effort, thought, and everything else you might want to say has gone into it, and he's done a good job. He's done a really good job, has Oscar, and he's, as I said, he's come out swinging after a few weeks off. But on to the actual boxing, and understandably this week it's all still been about Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk, and a lot of people not just debating the result. I don't think that's been the major point of conjecture. Yeah, there's been a few that thought Fury won, but I think pretty much what I've seen, 90% of people thought Alexander Usyk has won. But the talk has probably been more so about standing in the game, standing in the history of the game, legacy, all that sort of stuff. And I suppose it raises the question, exactly what is legacy? Is it our own personal perceptions? Is it the boxer's perception? Is it the sport's perception? I don't know, but it can mean a lot of things. But I think overall we think it means, of course, that it's how you are viewed in the sport after you've well and truly retired or moved on, whatever it might be. And there's been a lot of talk this week about, and debate about, where Alexander Usyk stands. Now, his standing in the history will probably be debated until, for the next 30 or 40 or 50 years, because that's sort of how long it takes for all, for the wheel to turn, I suppose, and for the dust to settle and everyone to sort of reflect on their career, and a new generation coming through to look at what they've done, their achievements, and then I suppose it's just a recognised view. But it's probably at the moment a lot of people saying, yeah, well, he's obviously been the best heavyweight of this era, but he wouldn't do this with this person or wouldn't do this with that person, and he's not that good. And I mean, you just look at his record I mean, I think as an amateur, it was at 335 and 15, I think, as an amateur. I think he might have avenged 14 of those 15 losses. I can't remember, but then wins an Olympic gold medal, just as a passing thought, wins an Olympic gold medal, then goes pro, wins the undisputed cruiserweight title. He's the best by a mile in that division, and then goes to heavyweight and beats the two best recognised heavyweights of his era in Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, not just once, twice each. So I think in the current day, I mean, you've got to give him his props. We'll go over a little bit of the pound for pound as we go, but I just think in the modern era, I would put him as the best heavyweight probably since Lennox Lewis. And I know we've had the Klitschko's in there, but I think he's a better fighter and has achieved a lot more than the Klitschko's, more than obviously Fury and Joshua and you name it. He's achieved a lot more than them. I think when was sort of Lewis at his peak? Probably the early 2000s. So the best heavyweight in the last 20 years, and who knows, he might surpass Lennox Lewis in the way we view him, as I said, in another 10 or 20 years when he's gone, and he's still got fuel in the tank, hasn't he? So who knows, he might beat Dubois for a second time, he might go down to cruiserweight, you just don't know. I think the only big fight left for him at heavyweight though is Dubois, unless maybe Parker beats him, but I think it's out of those two. I don't think there's any other heavyweights that are really going to get him too excited. And the cruiserweight thing, as much as I'm enthused about him going down and fighting Jaya Pataya again, I'm not quite sure what that does for his legacy, if that's what you want to call it. So anyway, but I just think it's just, for me, I know he's the, in my eyes, still the undisputed heavyweight champion, but he's the undisputed number one heavyweight in the world. But he's really on a tear today, this little bugger. But I just don't think there's any argument either that he's just one of the all-time greats. I don't think there's any way you can look at it. And again, he will be judged over history, but I just think for without doing anything from now, definitely one of the all-time greats. Not so sure about if he is in the top 10 of heavyweights. Probably is. I haven't really sat down. I know we sort of went over it the other night in Talking Boxing. He's probably on the fringe, but who knows? He could end up in there. We just don't know. But as far as the other legacy fighters goes, the other ones you've got to look at, Tyson Fury. Where does he stand in the scheme of things? Because when you think about it, he was sort of touting himself as, the best ever and could have beaten Ali and all this sort of stuff. And all of a sudden, his standing has been questioned as well. Because, I thought the first fight I thought it was really close and could have gone either way. And he had that 9th round that went against him. But I thought he was disappointing on the weekend. I think he really looked like a shot fighter. He had his moments against Usyk, but I think overall he just looked nothing like the Fury that we've seen in previous fights. I know the opposition has a lot to do with that, but I don't know. I definitely don't think he's in the top 10 pound for pound of all time. Sorry, not pound for pound, the top 10 heavyweights of all time. And I suppose he'll be judged as well, but it's interesting to see how he's going to perceive. And the other interesting one is Anthony Joshua. Where's he going to be looked at in history? I sort of see, if I looked at both of them, and if you follow boxing for a long time, I sort of liken Tyson Fury as such to someone like just trying to think. I don't think he's as good as what Lennox Lewis was. I don't think he was as good as what Mike Tyson was, or has achieved as much as those guys did. He's probably, I don't know, a Tim Witherspoon type. I don't know. Anthony Joshua, again, probably a Tim Witherspoon type who won a version of the title, but it was never really. It was always a little bit of second fiddle to the main man, and that's what's happened in both their cases. I don't know. I mean, I'm just sort of picking names. I don't want to sort of disrespect them too much, but I mean, who do you think? What heavyweight champions out there would you compare them to? I mean, it's a tough one. It's a tough one because before they both fought Usyk, we were talking about these two guys potentially going down as some of the, or two of the greatest heavyweights of all time. This guy, I tell you, today, it must be the humidity in the air. He's just pulling me all over the place. Come on, man. But anyway, and also raises the point of other fighters out there in the top pound for pound at the moment, where do they rank? And it's a fascinating conversation to have. I mean, that's just the heavyweights we're talking about, but you look at, say, a Canelo Alvarez, I think there's no doubt at all he'll go down as an all-time great. Of course, he'll be first ballot Hall of Famer. Probably, in my opinion, the second best and most accomplished Mexican fighter of all time, behind Julio Cesar Chavez. And I think he'll go down along the lines, or alongside, the greatest heavyweights, not heavyweights, the greatest fighters of all time. I really do. I know he's got his critics, but so did a lot of the others in history. I think he's achieved just as much as the Thomas Hearnses, and Duran might be an interesting one, but look, titles in what, four divisions? 1, 2, 3, 4, yep. Undisputed, I think, in 3 of them. Regardless of what you think of the modern day with the David Benavidez situation, he is an all-time great, and will go down alongside the De La Hoyas and all those types of guys. The others, I think, in a way, that's an interesting one. I think he will probably be, I know he's viewed as a killer these days, but I don't think people really understand his worth and his standing to the sport. And I don't think until 20 or 30 years' time, people will look back, the new generation will look back at him and go, Jesus, who was this killer? Now, I've got no doubt he'll probably lose a fight at some stage. They always do, especially when he continues to put himself in against the best fighters around. He continues to move up in weight, and he continues to do the sort of kamikaze approach. I think he'll get beaten at some stage. What he does after that, does he avenge the loss? What happens, I don't know, but that remains to be seen. But I just get the feeling at some stage he'll lose, and then his legacy will be really tested. But I think at the moment, yes, we all view him as the monster as he is. But, excuse me, I think, as I said, his true worth won't be judged for 20 or 30 years when the generations coming through will look back at him and go, geez, look at this guy, what a fighter he was. And I think his legacy will grow over the journey. Who else have we got? Fighters like Artur Beterbiev. I've just got a feeling someone like Artur Beterbiev and probably even Dimitri Bivol will unfortunately slip through the cracks a little bit in the history of boxing, because they're not really outgoing type of champions. They're obviously not from countries that are universally recognised as the homes of the great fighters, I suppose. And I think he's going to be a very, very admired fighter, or fighters, both of those guys. I'm just not sure they'll get probably the due respect they deserve, just because of their profiles and the lack of, I suppose, personality. But that's just the countries they come from. So I've got some worries about those guys. Who else have we got in there? So, Terence Crawford is the other one. Now, he's a fascinating one, is Terence Crawford, because he's going to be compared to the likes of Sugar Ray Leonard, Mayweather, of course, the De La Hoyas, Chavez's, all these types of Whitakers. Where does he rank now? I think at the moment he's definitely obviously top 3 pound for pound at the moment. But as far as history, I don't think he's going to be judged as well as those guys. And the reason I say that is because he only had the one real legacy fight, and that's Errol Spence Jr. And yes, he was so impressive, but since then has just done nothing. This is the thing about those guys in the past. They fought regularly and big fights regularly, and I just don't think that Terence Crawford, when it comes down to it, is going to be ranked above the Sugar Ray Leonards and Pernell Whitakers of the world. Just my opinion. Who knows whether he might have beaten them? We will never know, obviously. But I, for one, don't judge him anywhere near a Sugar Ray Leonard or a Pernell Whitaker. Similar type of fighters, of course, but even those greats, Chavez and Duran and all those types of guys, I don't think I would have him anywhere near them, just again because he just doesn't fight. This is the thing I like about Canelo. Well, I've always been a fan, because he just fights regularly 2 to 3 times a year against all his mandatories. And yeah, okay, there's the Benavidez one, but he just fights and fights and fights regularly and on a consistent basis and gets the job done. that's where I just don't think the Crawfords of the world are really going to measure up. Now, I know a lot of you will have different opinions out there. I understand that. And whether or not he beats some of those guys, this is the other thing when they talk about legacy. Is it thinking he'll beat another fighter, or is it we're talking about resumes and records and achievements and all that sort of stuff? It's a fascinating conversation. But some other fighters in there, I think fighters like Bam Rodriguez, look, I think he's still to be judged. I think he's probably got another 4, 5, 6 years of fighting before we can even judge him. This is the pound for pound I'm talking about at the moment. I'm just judging those guys. Nakatani's probably the same, not even in the conversation at the moment. So look, there's a few that are in the top 10 who we just can't judge at the moment. There's, you know, the Shakur Stevensons, Devin Haney's, whether you got him in the top 10 or not. These types of guys, I don't think Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson will be rated at all against those all-time greats. I just don't think the style and their achievements and just a lot of different things that have gone into their careers, I just don't think they will be looked upon favourably in comparison to a lot of other fighters. So come here, ma'am. Someone taking in the bin there. So anyway, look, it's another fascinating conversation, isn't it? I don't know. How do you guys have it? It's. Oh, come here, man. Come this way. Fair dinkum, he's taking me all over the neighbourhood today. So look, I think that's about it, guys. I know it's not a very exciting one, but it just sort of got me thinking about more so where do these fighters of today rank amongst the fighters of yesteryear and how they will be viewed as, or in the annals of history, as they say. Actually, one more thing before I do go. I did read today, come here, man, that the WBA have posted an all-time record profit. It's just, I wonder why. First reason is they've had more than, on average, one title fight a day this year that they've got sanctioning fees for. Now, is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Look, you got to look at it. It's a good thing in that you know, these sanctioning bodies are making record profits, well, that's good. But what are they doing with that profit? I think they said Gilberto Mendoza or something is on a $600,000 wage. Well, there you go, some of it. WBC are the same, not quite sure of the other organisations, but they're all making record profits apparently, but they're also getting subsidised heavily by the Riyadh season. Here we go again, I'm going under a tree here. Wish me luck. So is that a healthy thing for the sport or not? That these companies or these sanctioning bodies are all being heavily financed by the Riyadh season and Turkey Al Sheikh. I don't know. I think we're starting to get into murky water. I just haven't got a great feeling. I love what we're doing at the moment. I'm thankful for what he's been doing. But geez, are we going to those dangerous waters where he's pretty much propping up the boxing world? He'll have full control over rankings and maybe the belts themselves. Maybe they create their own belt or they all merge. I don't know. It would be good if they all merge, but geez, what does that mean as far as all the title fights? I don't know. It's an interesting one, isn't it? But I don't know whether it's a good thing or bad thing, that the fact that, you know, that all the sanctioning bodies are doing well because of what's going on in the Riyadh season. Fascinating times. Then, of course, we've got what's happening, especially here in Australia with DAZN and Foxtel. Is that going to happen around the world as well, where we see TV networks being gobbled up by things like, or companies like DAZN, and then we get a monopoly on that? I don't know. It's a changing world. It's a changing world, as it should be. We're about to enter 2025, aren't we? So I thought we'd have flying spaceships around the neighbourhood at this stage, or flying cars, whatever it is. A little bit disappointed in the Back to the Future franchise. That was 10 years ago that the Future episode or the Future movie was filmed, and none of that's really happened yet, or not a lot of it anyway. You never know, it's still coming. But anyway, we'll end it on that, guys. Hope you have a great Boxing Day. If you're watching the cricket, go the Aussies. Me for one, I'm probably going to go for a swim in the pool. It's going to be a hot day. Kick back and just chill and think about what's next with our business. This is our busiest time of the year for us, of course, in the liquor industry. So we've got orders to do and stock to get out and deliveries to make and everything else, and staff to organise. It's always great fun. So guys, have a great day, and we will catch you tomorrow.